Hello. Okay. So, Pearl Moment Journal Talk Time. So, let's go ahead and talk about these triggers, right? So, how you know when you are healed? When your triggers don't trigger like they triggered before, right? So, let's say this, the things that used to, and not just upset you, there's a difference between being upset and being triggered, right? So, and I guess you could say that being upset is part of being triggered. But a trigger, the triggers that I'm talking about are the ones that just kind of make you fly off the handle, right? Or the triggers that send you into a deep spiral of depression or sadness, or something that's just hard to, an emotion that's hard to get out of once you're in or once you've been triggered, right? It has you showing up differently, right? For yourself and to other people, it's hard for you to act in an appropriate manner or think things through in a way that you're not so reactive, right? And it's not a problem and it doesn't upset the flow, your energy, um, how you go about life, right? You just those are your triggers, and we all know what I'm talking about when I say triggers. And you should know, what your triggers are, but actually, let me take that back. Some people don't really know what their trigger is, and they do need to do that work in order to figure out and find out and discover what their triggers are. Let me adjust that a little bit. So, in the program, we go through a process and exercises that really pinpoint what the triggers are. Sometimes what you need to do is go a little deeper and figure out why it's a trigger, right? So not only what the trigger is, but why it's a trigger. And that's part of the Free and Clear program, the Thrive After Divorce program as well, is to really bring up that stuff so that you are able to identify it. So let me give you an example of, you know, how to know when you're healed from, your divorce, right? When you're not tested by your triggers in this way. So let's say somebody says something to you, or you hear something, or you read something. There is some sort of external event that happens that causes you to internally show up different, and then you're just bothered for the rest of the day, or you're bothered for hours, or like I said before, it kind of puts you out for a minute, right? And you have to do some work to try to come back to. You might be crying consistently all day long and just upset, right? Just upset at the fact that you have to deal with this particular thing. And it could be things that are so small, um, but yet instead it gets magnified to this huge thing. Now, how you know when you're healed from that is when you experience that in your outer world, and you may still feel it, you may still not like it, but you don't react the same way, right? So, therefore, it's no longer triggering you to act outside of your character or what you want your new character to be, right? The new person that you are. So, what I mean by this is someone says something to you, you hear something, read something, whatever the case is, right? And what used to show up for you as anger, right? Used to trigger you, hello, hi, now doesn't upset you in the same way. So the reaction, instead of popping off or going off or whatever, or going down a spiral of depression and emotions, you sit back and you think about it for a minute. Okay, so good morning. um, why do I feel the way that I feel right now? Wait a minute. What am I feeling? This person just said this to me. I just got this news. I just read this text or whatever, and I'm feeling something. What is this? Oh, okay. That's that trigger that I was working on. I know what this is. So let me use my tools. Let me use the strategies that I learned in the program and evaluate this, sit back with this, process this through first. And how do I want to react to this? How I want to react is going to be based on how I want to feel in that moment. You have a choice to either be upset, to feel upset, to react. Just because your emotions are telling you that you want to react a certain way does not mean that you have to react that way, right? So, you are the chief and the operator of your body, right? Your mind is, your spirit is. Your body does not control you. You control your body. So you tell your body when to react and when not to react, right? So I'm not even going to get into the meditation part of it. But what I mean by that is you can train your mind, you can train your body to not react to circumstances in the same way that you used to, right? And when you're able to identify and control and therefore react in a right mindset, the one that's in alignment with the way that you want to show up in life, that's how you know that you're healed from a trigger. Um, so, and I want to keep it real clear, it does not mean that it will no longer bother you. It means that you show up differently, right? And at some point, it may get to the point where it doesn't bother you anymore. But be great and be satisfied with the experience of not reacting the way that you used to and ignoring it. Let me say this, because some people, say, I hear this a lot. Well, I just don't say anything to him anymore. I don't react to the person anymore. It's not about, ladies, how you react to the other person or how you respond to the other person. It's how you are responding to you. The Free and Clear program is all about you. It's not about how you're showing up for anybody else. I mean, we touch on that, but first and foremost, it's about how you show up for you, right? Because how you show up for you, when that's in alignment, when your heart, your mind, and your body is in alignment with how you want to show up in life, you will show up differently for other people as well. But it starts with you. So when you are triggered in that manner, you have to ask yourself, okay, how do I want to show up for me? How do I want to feel for the rest of the day? Just because I don't say anything or respond to that other person in a negative way or in any kind of way doesn't mean that you're still not on the couch for 4 or 5 hours crying or upset, or the day is thrown off, right? You don't want to be in a bad energy. You don't want anybody else in a bad, you don't want to put anybody else or bring that energy to anybody else either. But first and foremost, you don't want to be in bad energy. So how you show up for yourself is the first standpoint on being healed from emotional triggers, right? So I don't want to hear, Naima, I don't react, I'm healed from those triggers. It's not a trigger for me anymore because he said this and I didn't pop off like I usually do. Okay, but how did you go about your rest of the day? Oh, I was upset, right? So, I just canceled my plans. I just stayed in the house. I didn't want to be around nobody because I don't want to bring that energy to anybody. Okay, so that's good. That's a good first step, but that's not fully processed and all the way through, honey. We have to take ourselves through the whole process, and that's what happens is we stop midpoint because we think that we're good, right? But we're not, because we haven't allowed ourselves to take ourselves to a place of neutral. And in the program, I have this exercise that I take the ladies through called getting to neutral. So what that means is you take yourself through a couple of questions and you get to the place where, how am I feeling? I don't feel triggered. I don't feel bothered. I don't really feel anything, about this. I sat with it. I can experience this particular experience, whatever the event is, several times. I can think about, I can think about the emotion. I can think about the issue. I can think about the problem. I can think about him. I can think about whatever it is. And instead of being upset and being triggered and it throwing off my day and it throwing me off my game and taking me off the path of success, the dream life that I'm trying to build here, I'm good with it. I'm able to let it go. It really just kind of dusts off my shoulders, right? That's that place where you feel ultimate calm and you're like, all right, I'm gonna be good. I'm okay with this. And then what happens is the next relationship that you're in, that's no longer a problem for you. You've already dealt with that. So, that baggage bag lady. Ooh, I can't sing, especially this morning because I was out last night. But that bag lady thing, that's not an issue for you. You're not taking any bags. We're not carrying any bags to any relationship, right? And I'm gonna say any negative bags, right? We're not. I know, right? Um, we're not taking that with us. And so when we're going, I'm not even getting ready to go. I'm not going on the jump into relationship because I really want to try to keep these lives under 10 minutes. And if I get into that, then it's going to be a whole nother 10 minutes. So I'll have to save that one for another live. But the point is, for this series, for the How to Know When You're Healed series, those 5 steps, this one we're talking about just the triggers, right? Yesterday we spoke about the conversations. Today I want to talk about the triggers. And tomorrow, which one am I going to talk about tomorrow? They really don't go in order, so to speak, but tomorrow we're going to talk about the actions. Like I said, it really doesn't go in any particular order, but I just found through, having many conversations with people that it usually kind of goes between, first the conversation, then, your triggers, and then your actions. And then after actions, you have your gratefulness, and then you're living in your purpose, right? So tomorrow we're going to talk about your actions, right? How you show up, right? The things that you do, right? Yesterday we spoke about your conversation. I know you're not healed, and you should know you're not healed by the way that you speak, right? The way that you talk about your situations. Today it's your triggers. Okay, how do you feel about it, right? Not how you're talking about it anymore, but how are you feeling about it? Just because you're not responding, just because you're not talking about it anymore, but how are you internally feeling about it? Because I don't care about him, ladies. Just public service announcement. I don't want to talk about him. I don't want to talk about the experience. I don't want to talk about it if it's not for your highest and greatest good. If there's a reason why we need to talk about it in order to get you to living your best life, to, get you to the point where you are able to identify situations for you, I'm all with that. But just talking about it, just to talk about it, just to get it off your chest, that's a therapist, right? And I'm going to say this, and I'll keep it 100 with you completely. I spoke about this, I believe yesterday, was the difference between coaches and therapists. Therapists are great if you want to go backwards and you want to relive this, the stuff. And sometimes you do need to do that so you can kind of pinpoint things. Sometimes, if that's, your thing. I've been to several therapists. Some of them have been good. However, it wasn't my jam. I'm a very forward-thinking person, so I don't need you to just tell me about the stuff that happened in the past. I don't need you to stay there. I don't want to spend months and years right there. I want to learn how to move forward. I want to live the life that I was created to live. I want to live in purpose. Teach me how to get there. Okay, you told me what my problems were. Now teach me how to solve them and teach me how to win, right? I just turned 41 yesterday, and I'm ready to win, right? I want to win in life. I don't want to be 50, 60, 70 years old still talking about my problems and my exes and my ex-marriage. And believe me, ladies, there has been so many conversations that I've had with people who are still stuck, right? Thank you. I appreciate it. So that's the difference between coaching and therapy. I'm going to touch on, the BS, right? And the things that you had to go through because it's relevant in you figuring out where you are right now and going forward, right? Because you can't go forward until you know where you've been, where you know where you are, and where you want to go. But we are going to definitely drill in on where you want to go. And you cannot go to new places with the same old mindset. Let me stop with this pen. I feel like I'm just like, that's not, that's not okay. Anyhow, that's it. That's all I have for you today. Please come back and join me tomorrow. And as always, if there's a topic that you want me to talk about, please let me know. If it's about the series that I'm in, right now it seems like I'm doing series and all of them are 5. I don't know what that's about. But if it's within like the topic of the series, I definitely will talk about it within the series. If not, I'll hit you up and let you know that I'll talk about it on a different day after the series. But yep, that's it for today. If you have any comments, questions, always feel free to DM me. And as always, DM me the words detail, and that will automatically send you a free mini course. Okay. All right. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Awesome. Yes. Okay, me too. Alrighty. Well, I will talk to you later and I will see everybody else tomorrow. Bye.